MILCAH, in simple terms, from 2026, eligible Namibian undergraduate students at UNAM will no longer pay tuition and registration fees. These costs will be covered by government under the subsidized tertiary education funding model. The funding model is aimed at reducing financial barriers to higher education, while at the same time also ensuring that access to university remains structured, merit-based, as well as sustainable.
So there is a lot of excitement around this announcement. Does subsidized education mean that studying at UNAM will now be completely free?
No, it does not mean everything is free, MILCAH. The subsidy covers tuition and registration fees only. Other study-related costs such as accommodation, meals, transport, textbooks and connectivity remain the responsibility of students and their families, although some of these may be supported through NSFAF non-tuition loans.
Talk to us about the categories of students that will qualify for the subsidy and who will still be required to pay tuition or registration fees.
Yeah, no, that's quite a common question we get. The subsidy, MILCAH, applies to Namibian citizens pursuing their first primary undergraduate qualification at NQF levels 5 to 8, including honors, the one-year honors program at UNAM. Students who will still be required to pay tuition and registration fees include international students, postgraduate students, those pursuing a second or additional qualification at the same or lower level, repeating students, and students with alternative funding arrangements.
And does this new funding model change UNAM's admission requirements or the merit-based selection process?
Indeed. No, it does not. All admission requirements remain unchanged. Entry into UNAM programs continues to be strictly merit-based, guided by academic performance, program-specific criteria, and, where applicable, professional and accreditation body requirements. The subsidy does not guarantee admission into UNAM.
Now, Simon, with more students expected to apply, how is UNAM preparing to manage capacity and also to maintain its academic quality?
MILCAH, UNAM expects increased interest, but student intake cannot exceed institutional capacity. Enrollments remain guided by lecture hall and laboratory spaces, staff-to-student ratios, and professional accreditation limits. The university continues to work with government to plan for responsible, phased capacity growth while ensuring that academic quality remains non-negotiable for us.
Mm-hmm. And will the registration process be different this year from previous years for eligible students?
Quite a common question as well. The registration steps remain largely the same. That is document verification, financial clearance, and online academic registration. The key difference is that eligible students will not be required to pay tuition and registration fees. However, students must still register formally, clear any outstanding historical debts where applicable, and pay applicable non-tuition charges such as hostel deposits.
Because my next question was going to be what should continuing students at UNAM expect as the university transitions into this subsidized funding model? So those that still have outstanding fees must still settle those.
Correct. And also, just to say that continuing undergraduate students who meet the eligibility criteria will transition into the subsidized model from 2026 with their tuition and registration fees covered. However, any outstanding balances from previous years remain the responsibility of the student. Students who do not meet the eligibility criteria will continue under the existing fee arrangements.
Mm-hmm. And obviously you did clarify that international students and postgraduate students are not part of this subsidized tertiary education policy, right?
Correct. Postgraduate programs and international students are not included under the current policy. Postgraduate students may still access funding through NSFAF postgraduate loans. Some have employer bursaries, scholarship, or pursue self-funding options.
Simon, where can students and parents access official and reliable information so that they can avoid confusion and misinformation?
Indeed. Students and their parents are strongly advised to rely on official UNAM communication channels, including the UNAM website, official social media platforms, notices on the student portal, and registration guides issued by the registration office, bursar's office, and the Directorate of Student Affairs. This helps avoid confusion caused by unofficial or incorrect information. I think also it's important to follow programs like this on the National FM, where you can get direct information from the source at the University of Namibia.
Mm-hmm. And just lastly, when is your registration period ending?
We have 2 registration periods running for the senior students as well as for the first-year students. The senior students began on the 5th of January and it's going until the 31st of January. For the first-year students, it began on the 12th of January until the 30th of January. And it's also to inform that for the late registration, it's happening from the 2nd until the 6th of February 2020.